and we can watch a movie after this, okay?
अंबिकापतय उमापतये पशुपतये नमो नमः। ॐ नमो हिरण्यवाहवे हिरण्यवर्णाय हिरण्यरूपाय हिरण्यपतये अंबिकापतय उमापतये पशुपतये नमो ब्रह्माधिपति ब्रह्मणोऽधिपति ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवो। ईशान सर्वविद्यानाम् ईश्वर सर्वभूतानां ब्रह्माधिपति ब्रह्मणोऽधिपति ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा ब्रह्मा शिवो मे अस्तु सदा शिवो। तत्पुरुषाय विद्महे वाग्विशुद्धाय धीमहि तन्नः शिवः प्रचोदयात्। महादेवाय विद्महे रुद्रमूर्तये धीमहि तन्नः शिवः प्रचोदयात्। नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन्
Lord. Shiva. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you. I'm sorry I didn't invoke you yesterday. And I said we were supposed to be invoking Shiva every Sunday. Screw that. We're going to start invoking Shiva Saturday, Sunday, Monday, as well as Tuesday. All right. Okay, what's up, my black peoples and my white peoples and whoever is watching this, whoever's going to watch the playback. This is High Priestess Jamila. So I've got good news for y'all. After a year of debate and finally in this harsh economy, the spirits have told me that we now have a cheaper generational hex remover option, okay? Because the powers that be, you know, they're trying to keep you in chains so that they can use you and abuse you. And then we got, entrepot niggas running around here. They ready to sacrifice everybody, including their children, just to survive. You'd be surprised at how difficult it is to actually hold that sacred heart of Jesus, which is that self-sacrificing, energy. A lot of, men, women are not necessarily willing to die so that you can live. In fact, they'll throw you on the fire and throw you under the bus. And the next thing you know, you'll be dealing with some stuff, okay? So it's hard out there. Right now, the economy is really, really tight. I was actually looking at a video earlier, of very wealthy people. And see, for me, it was never meant for me to just leave my people behind and just say, screw y'all. So this is the reason why you guys are going to be able to get this ritual cheaper. It's going to be a somewhat of a different ritual. I won't be revealing how I'm going to be doing it because, people like to try to steal your rituals. But it is going to be a very effective ritual to remove generational curses. I wanted to talk to y'all about generational curses and what exactly they are. It's different for everybody, but I can tell you that, a lot of y'all can have similar issues. One of them is poverty, money. Okay, especially if your parents didn't have enough money to pave the way. There may have been some kind of drug addiction, especially very, very harsh drugs like crack cocaine, heroin, methamphetamines is the new drug, been out for probably like the past 20 years. That is really, really putting a lot of people at a disadvantage. And so what we have found is that when you have those extra added obstacles like that, it affects the children and it affects the grandchildren, depending on the decisions that your parents made for their life and your life. And even if your parents give you up for adoption, it still tends to affect you because most of the drugs are actually connected to a deity. So, in movies, we've been seeing quite often parents that will put their kids out there on the track, pimp, prostitute them for drugs, which is one of the most common of generational hexes, is where the way that we see it in the movies is where the parent just kind of pimps out the kid for drugs. But in reality, even if you're not actually physically having sex with anybody, there's still demons that seem to be pulling on you. So the life of a child, of a drug addict, or even an alcoholic can be very, very harsh and unfair because the parent will pull on you. And in fact, that's the reason why your Mondays are so harsh, because your parents or maybe even your aunt or your uncle or your grandparents, they're at church praying to God only knows who pastor is calling to, and they're putting your life in the hands of someone else. And that's why your Mondays are so harsh. And you feel like you can't even get up and go to work. Feel like you're drained of all your energy. So drug addiction, religious psychoses are another very, very, very common generational hex, especially for Black people. Okay. Now, when you go to the next level of that, then you may have where you have a parent or a grandparent that is actually sacrificing you. Okay. And this can be an ongoing struggle for your life. This is the reason why my spirits created a cheaper ritual for you guys so that you can at least open up those doors and get started. When you have a parent that hates you because they've decided that they've become apathetic, they done gave up on life, all of a sudden you ain't good enough, narcissism and things of that nature. So in reality, the way that you end up being generationally hexed for the most part is the parent hating you. Okay, not just hating you, but in some cases feeling very overwhelmed and burdened by you. Okay, they feel very burdened. So what they will start to do is they start to imagine life without you. They start to imagine their lives being better if they hadn't given birth to these what do you call that, ungrateful bastards, is typically what they will say to you or say about you. Your parents is talking about you behind your back like dogs. Okay. Yeah, the ancestors are definitely in the blood, and they said, Jamila, you're gonna have to open up some doors for people. So your parents, they hate you. Some of you that are generationally hexed, the parent hates you. They feel as though you are a symbol of their failure. They didn't know how to embrace you. So what they did was they began to curse you. They wanted to prove that all of the rumors were true. They wanted to prove that the statistical data of society that they so desperately want to fit into was correct. So what they will do is they will start to try to do self-fulfilling prophecies of your life. And this is extremely dangerous. There's actually a Chinese proverb that says that what the parents want for the child is what they will get, is what they will have. And that's very scary. Okay, this is and that's actually a very true statement unless you know something about witchcraft. Okay. Um, so that's at the root of the problem. Your parents were rotten. They gave birth to you. Everything that they wanted to not be, they put it into you. They did not do anything to remove that prior to you being born. So that's why you were born with that on you. Okay. You were born with it attached to you. Okay. Now, they don't want to admit to this. And see, parents like that, they will make up all sorts of lies. Then when you think about it, some of y'all were molested as children. And some of y'all grew up with the dynamic of the parent actually protecting your molester, especially if your parent was on drugs and the parent may have offered you in exchange for drugs. Okay. Having a drug addicted parent is one of the worst generational curses, one of the worst. It is about devastation into people's lives. I mean, when we first originally saw the crack cocaine epidemic back in the 70s, they weren't thinking ahead. They didn't realize that these baby boomers would end up actually selling their kids out. They're suffering as well, though, because a lot of them sold us out for disability and retirement. Okay, so a lot of those systems are set up to put you at a disadvantage and to control you. So, but then as we started going through inflation, then this is when the misery increased for them because things have inflated. We're going through inflation every year. Every year, the government gives raises to their employees, but everybody can't work for the government. They don't have enough jobs. Okay, and I worked for the government for 10 years. Okay, this is part of my work history. It's on my resume. I worked for the Internal Revenue Service for 10 years as a seasonal data transcriber. So I know what I'm talking about. And even though I was making more money than anybody that I knew, I mean, when I left there, I was making close to $18 an hour. And a lot of people would say, ooh, $18 an hour is a lot of money. But when you think about it, it's not. It's not. It'll get you by. It'll definitely pay your bills. But for you to, it's still a struggle because nowadays you can't get a job without getting the jab. So that's very devastating to a lot of people that, you'll lose your job if you don't get the jab. And I've seen the negative effects. I felt the negative effects that the jab has had on people. In fact, I've actually caught COVID 3 times already, or either a more so of a psychosomatic version of COVID. Okay. Okay. So, Ziana, I'm gonna give you a wrench. Knock them off at the head. You see a troll come in here, Ziana. Go ahead and get rid of them. Let me give you a wrench. Let me wrench you up, Ziana. Okay. So when you see a troll come in here, just pop them out of here because that's another generational hex when you're a hater. If you are a hater and you're hating on all these people that want this information, they know that I'm not lying on them. I'm not lying to them, rather, about the situation. Everybody that's watching this that does have a generational hex on them that has been greatly affected by generational hexes knows exactly that I'm telling them the truth. So, um, if you're hating on a business owner, you're definitely cursed. Okay, leave these people alone. These people want to hear the information. They want to know what their options are. Okay, thank you. So, Ziana, you have a wrench now. Go ahead and when you see them come in here, just bust them in the head. Don't even let them stay. Because I'm looking at the StreamYard chat, and the StreamYard chat is approximately 1 minute behind. And, for some reason, even though they have their own channels, they still don't feel that they're being heard. And I don't exactly understand why, but, they feel that when they come over here, even though I only have 4 or 5 live viewers, for some reason, they act like it's more so 4 million live viewers. I personally feel as though my views are so off the charts that YouTube wouldn't even want to pay me for the amount of views that I get. Okay. So you know what I'm saying? And for, they claim that I'm nothing. I have 5 live viewers. I'm a loser. I'm this and that, but yet they're constantly hating on me. So, you know, anyway, getting back to what I was talking about. Another dynamic of a generational hex is antisocial behavior, which is what a lot of the trolls exhibit every single day. Antisocial trolls are at a very poor disadvantage They don't know how to communicate anything but negativity. That's all they know how to communicate. There's no, it's just all negative. It's all bad. That's another aspect of it, which is a very, very tough habit to break, especially if you grew up with a parent or a grandparent that was constantly talking negatively to you or about you and other people. Okay, this is what keeps those people stuck and very limited. Okay, and they can't really think outside of that box that they've been placed in. So this is the reason why they come around YouTubers with antisocial behavior. Okay, a lot of your mental illnesses are actually learned behavior patterns. Anybody that's in a toxic, negative environment is going to develop mental illnesses such as depression, anxiety, PTSD, schizophrenia. Add that toxic environment along with not allowing the person to be their own individual, and then you create a person that has a lot of alters. This is a person that clearly exhibits several personalities. If you guys have ever seen American Horror Story, the black lady in, I think it was American Horror Story. I'm pretty sure that it was American Horror Story Apocalypse. I think it was. It was the one with that lady that had several personalities, and like literally she ended up killing somebody actually. But she would have this personality of this very angry male, a very violent, angry male that would come out. And it was obvious, even though they didn't really discuss it. But, you know, I have a tendency to be a visionary. So I actually could see very clearly that she was repeating a learned behavior because she may have gotten left with somebody that perhaps, you know, created some kind of psychological break. A lot of the ways that we have raised children generationally over the last 30 to 40 years are where children are to be seen and not heard. Y'all ever heard that saying? Children are to be seen and not heard. So we wonder why we have a lot of damaged people in this world. Unfortunately, those people are not as lucky and they don't have the cognitive ability to understand why they are so damaged because they've suffered from brain damage. You know, when you grow up with a toxic parent that is constantly rageful against you or is doing something to you, this abuse will create all sorts of problems to the point where many people cannot survive. And a lot of y'all that do have the ability to survive, a lot of y'all that are very smart, you'd have to look at that movie Matilda. Y'all remember that movie Matilda? Even though her parents were very toxic, you know, Matilda was very lucky because she still turned out okay. Okay, she was a very intelligent girl. And you know, she ended up with the ability of telekinesis, actually. So that's actually one of my favorite movies. I think I'm gonna watch that with Jacob this morning. Is that movie Matilda? So, and I mean, your spiritual gifts, you're born with them. You don't have to be abused to have those spiritual gifts come to the surface either. A lot of people are a little confused about that. Abuse is abuse is abuse is abuse. Abuse actually suppresses the spiritual gifts in a lot of you. Okay, and many of you guys, even though you've grown up, you may even have moved on, but you're still having learning disabilities. You're still having issues, depression, anxiety, and PTSD because of the negativity that your parents put into you. Now, I was talking about Snoop Dogg. I was very disappointed in Snoop Dogg when I heard him speak about his son, talking about his son as the smartest dumb person It was almost like a backwards compliment, and then also he was very incorrect with what he was saying. There's a big hoopla over eating meat. I know people right now today whose internal organs are damaged from not eating a proper diet. Okay, so that's the one thing that the government told you that was actually and factually the truth. If you don't eat meat, you're going to starve yourself, you're going to starve your organs. Okay, especially if you do it long term. So this is actually another very harmful religion that is damaging people and creating and causing cancers. Exactly. But Snoop Dogg was talking about how our ancestors were eating foods that were killing them and causing things like diabetes and high blood pressure. And in my humble opinion, that is not what's causing the diabetes and the high blood pressure. It's not. What's causing the diabetes and the high blood pressure is stress. Stress is what's tearing everybody down. So coming from a man that made music for his community that actually created more stress in the community, he can't really educate anybody. So he was saying that, and he actually brought up generational curses. He tried to make it seem like, not eating meat was going to remove a generational curse, and that's actually not the truth. Actually, that's going to exacerbate it and give entities more leeway into the body. Okay, so it's just not true in my humble opinion, and we're finding that out. Okay, yeah. In fact, our ancestors, they lived longer than we're living. Okay, if you go and look at certain villages over in other countries, those people eat fat, they drink blood, they eat blood sausages, and those people are very, very healthy, living to be 150 years old. Okay, so this is definitely an untrue statement. Okay, but anyway, let me get back to what I was talking about. Poverty, multi-generational poverty is another one. Okay, that's another generational hex. And poverty, y'all want to look at the poverty guidelines? Let's take a look at the poverty guidelines real quick. Let's take a look at this poverty guidelines. I'm gonna share a screen, y'all. I'm gonna show y'all what is considered to be poverty according to the guidelines. Okay. Let's see if we can find. Hold on, I didn't mean to click on that. Let me find a chart that I agree with because they I wonder if they've changed this guideline. This must be for, I don't want poverty guidelines. Hold on. I don't want poverty guidelines for government assistance. Let me see if I can find what I'm looking for. Okay. Well, here's the 2021 federal poverty guidelines. Okay, let's take a look at this one. Okay. Okay, so you're considered to be impoverished if you're by yourself and you earn less than 12,000 per year, gross monthly income 1,073. For a family of two, 17,000 annually. Okay. For a family of three, 21,960. For a family of four, 26,500. Okay. So y'all would be happy to know that for the past 3 or 4 years that Jamila has been well above the poverty line. And I intend to stay there, even though it's still, to me, it's not enough, but it is what it is. But this is just a guideline. A family of four, 26,500. Okay. A family of five, 31,000. Okay. And this is 15 going all the way up to $21 an hour. If you have a family of eight, and this is according to the federal government. So you can just imagine the wages that they want to pay you. I mean, literally, if you're one person and you're making 1,000 per month, I can see why that person would be uh, depressed and stressed out. That's depressing. Okay. So y'all be happy to know that I've been well above my family. I've got 5 or 6. I've been well above this, but even that isn't enough. So when we're discussing poverty, okay, this is another generational hex. Now, if you look at the poverty guidelines, who in here wants to make 31,000 a year? I don't think anybody feels that 31,000 a year is enough. But and we know that that's not enough. It's not, unless you have perfect credit. If you have perfect credit, but that's another thing that your parents did to you was they screwed up your credit. If you had an ignorant parent, they took your social security number and they used it and screwed up your credit very early on. They did. Okay. In fact, in 2019, somebody stole my personal information and took out some kind of student loan or something. It was so weird. And I ended up, it screwed up my credit. My credit has been screwed up ever since because somebody had my personal information. I think it was like, what, a $1,200 debt. And so, yeah. And so if you start getting strange collection letters, you better pay attention to them collection letters that come to your house because you never know, somebody could have used your credit for something. But anyway, poverty is another one. And according to those guidelines, you're considered to be impoverished. If you're earning less than $50,000 in a year, that's considered to be poverty. Okay, so a lot of you guys that you probably wanted better jobs. First of all, you're not going to be in line for those jobs. You're not going to be front of the line for those jobs, which is why there are a lot of people that are opting to start their own businesses. Okay, and there are people that thank you, Ziana. There are people that do start their own businesses and they make very good. Now, there are some people that start their businesses and their businesses fail. Okay, and part of the reason is because you're being blocked. So if you have a generational hex on you, you're going to think very limited. You're going to see things as being very limited. In fact, some of the wealthiest people in this world, uh, and there's nothing wrong with obtaining wealth. There's nothing wrong with that. Okay. And it's not necessarily about being filthy rich to where you have millions of dollars, but you do want enough money to sustain a lifestyle. I mean, can you imagine if you have 5 kids, according to this chart? Let me pull it back up for y'all. Let me share screen. Can you imagine what a person would go through if you have 3 kids and you're only making 31,000 per year? Then you can't even buy socks. You can barely afford to buy socks. Okay? I can guarantee you that when you start to have crazy ideas about starting your own company and you start dreaming and thinking bigger, then you're going to have somebody in your family that's going to tell you, oh, that ain't going to work. And then as soon as you start doing anything, that's when they get to talking about you. That's when they get to harassing you. That's when they get to gang stalking you. Okay. Because they don't want you to do any better. Okay. Especially when it comes to your parents. They don't want you to, if you have a Gen Hex on you, your parents don't want you to make more money than them. Even though you may have 2 or 3 kids, they still don't want you to make more money than them. Even though it would make sense for you to make money, because again, God blesses you, okay, because your blessings are being blocked. Okay, just being alive means nothing. A lot of them will say, well, you alive, ain't you? I'm alive, but I'm not really living. So I don't understand why they say that. Well, you alive, ain't you? And that's fine to be alive, but you're not flourishing. You're just existing for somebody else's bottom line. Okay. So just being alive, okay, being alive is great, but nobody wants to be poor and impoverished. Who wants that? Nobody. Now, I was trying to get some documents together for you guys so I could show you guys that I'm not joking with you about being well above the poverty line. I may do that later on today. I just have to blot out my account number information. And there's a lot of companies and businesses that do actually release in fact, I can go back and calculate every dollar that I've made, and I can actually post what my net worth is, okay, or what I've earned personally. Okay, is basically what it to me, that's what it is. Okay. And so, I'm not kidding with you. Like I said, in 2018, when I did the ritual for myself, my income increased by 5 times. And by the way, guys, very soon I'm going to have my PayPal back. Hopefully that'll be within the next 24 to 48 hours. And I'm so relieved about that, having my PayPal back. It's going to be nice. Um, and so, you guys will be able to easily go and check out through PayPal Express on the website. I'm just waiting to hear back from them or whatever, because they've got to do some things. You know how it's always a wait. In the meantime, you guys definitely can get in and get on my schedule, through Zelle, Cash App, or either on the website. You guys can check out, but it seemed like it takes forever for them to process my deposits, and so that kind of holds up the process. Also, my Etsy shop will be back up as well. And so you guys will be able to check out on Etsy very soon as well. So now this is the poverty guideline for Oregon. Okay, so this may be different depending on the state that you're in. Okay, and see, this is one of the things that I do as far as the analysis that I do for you. So let's look it up in Georgia. This is where I live, in Georgia. God, that's a little tiny. I can't even see that. Hold on. Let's open this up. Let's see if we can. Damn, that's all blurry. Okay. Um, Let's, oh, see, this is the WIC guideline. Okay, so it raises up a little bit in Georgia. Okay, so Oregon, they got very good lord. The cost of living must be really cheap in Oregon. I wouldn't want to live there. So this is different for Georgia. You see this? Okay, for one person, 23,606 per year, which is 1,900. This seems a little bit more normal. I don't know what the hell I was looking at before. But you see how it goes up gradually? Okay, if you got 3 people in the household, 40,182 would be the poverty guideline. Okay. And then it goes up. Okay. So, if you have a family of 4, you qualify for WIC. And if you only making 48,000 a year, you can go down there and get you some WIC. Okay, you see that? So Georgia, they allow a little bit more leeway. Okay. And these are the things that we go over when I do give you financial counseling. Which is why some of my readings are 2 hours. I have my readings priced so low that my 2 hour readings are actually very affordable. It would be $120 for a 2 hour reading. And this is when I actually sit down with you. I look at your income, and I also look at what your spirits and ancestors are saying to you and what they are providing, what they're letting you know, what your potential is. Okay. And see, nobody has the right to question where you get your money from. I mean, there's people on YouTube, they're big YouTubers. They've got like 80,000, 100,000 subscribers, and their subscribers, they just send them money. And these people, they making hundreds of thousands of dollars per year just from donations. Okay, so those people are definitely well above the poverty grid. Okay, they're doing very well. And you got people that are, they definitely do hate on vloggers that are like that. But I don't understand why they do this. To me, it's such a waste of time to go and, if God is blessing them with that money. So who are you to question God? So I see that all the time. Oh, this person they doing a GoFundMe for this, and they doing a begathon, they doing this and that. Well, that ain't your business. Quit watching other people's money. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Okay. Hey, Shy Alpha. Hello. So you guys, when I do your financial analysis, this is one of the things that I do. And I also look at where you're from. Now, I'm going to share screen again. I want to look at my hometown where I'm from. What are the poverty guidelines for there? Okay. We can look at that as well. We'll look at the poverty guideline for Missouri. Okay. And they said that Nelly finally sold his mansion for 500 and something thousand. He paid $1 million for it. And he got like half. Okay. So this is the Missouri poverty guidelines. Okay. And I'm going to tell y'all something. Theirs is very low. The cost of living in my hometown is way more expensive than in Georgia. So this is just like, wow. Wow, they got the standard set really low. Look at that. Here's the number of persons for one person to get temporary assistance. You can't make more than what, 727 a month? Goodness gracious. Ooh, they doing dirtball bad over there. Well, here's 1589. This is a chart that they probably use down at the state office. Let's look at the Missouri WIC guidelines, y'all. So that they seem to have a pretty good chart, easier to interpret. Okay, so it's about the same. Yeah, because I was about to say, wait a minute, the cost of living in Missouri is expensive, and Kansas. The taxes on food is sky high. And of course, if you get food stamps, you're not going to pay any taxes on that. And I heard that that was getting ready to change. I'm not sure about that. I don't know why I'm hearing that. But don't quote me on that, okay? In fact, over in Kansas, you could have a Section 8 voucher and earn up to 99,000 per year. And they would still, Section 8 would still pay a portion of your rent, and they capped it off. So for example, if you make 100,000 a year almost in Kansas, you only paid 500 a month in rent. So it really ain't nothing wrong with Section 8. It really ain't. Sometimes I wish I still had it. But I wanted. I'm preparing myself to purchase a home in another few years. Hopefully by next year. I'd like to buy this house that I'm living in too. So, and so you guys are catching my drift of what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying? As far as with poverty. And see, a person would be considered to be living in poverty if they don't earn that much. And a lot of y'all only making like $10 to $12 an hour. Y'all got to have a side business. Some of y'all are doing strange things for a piece of change. Another one is as far as with women with Gen Hexes is prostitution. The whole sugar daddy paradigm comes up a lot when it comes to women. And there's a lot of women such as myself that, I don't really believe in the sugar daddy, sugar mama. I feel like all of you have the potential to manifest your dreams and to manifest what you want. Now, if that's what you want, then hey, but then again, that puts you in a contract. Okay, that puts you in a contract to where somebody else owns you. So the best way to be is free and sovereign. And it's actually not that difficult. I mean, even thinking of myself prior to all of the daily gang stalking and attacks, I think that that's the worst thing because, people want to blot out your potential. You know what I'm saying? They want to dim your light because see, when your light is shining and when you're activating your light body, then spirit can definitely bring those blessings down to you. So there's a lot of different things that you can do for yourself, but doing the generational hex contract remover is actually one of the most important things. And there was a big debate because as the economy for all of us little people, because I'm still a little guy, I'm not making 7 figures a year, okay? But for us, the little guy, it affected us. The economy did, especially small businesses and even big businesses. So I think Coca-Cola, shut down. There was a lot of layoffs. I mean, just so it wasn't just small businesses that were affected by the whole thing. Of course, the medical industry cleaned up. Amazon is a retail giant. It's a retail giant, and I'm so confused about Amazon. I've been trying to set up my store through Amazon for uh for weeks, and it just seems very confusing. It's like, well, how do you actually do that? So I'm gonna try to have that set up before Christmas. In sometime in November, I'm gonna try to have my Amazon store set up, but it seems just very confusing. But Amazon cleaned up during the pandemic. The grocery stores cleaned up. The toilet paper companies cleaned up. The funeral homes cleaned up. Okay, they did. Every other business possibly impacted, except for maybe McDonald's. Every business suffered in the quake of this economy as we were going through what is considered like a little mini depression, is how a lot of people saw that. And but there's some people that cleaned up, you know what I'm saying? And they're they don't mind, throwing it up in our faces that, ha ha, I cleaned up. But we all know the debate about that. I believe that it's going to be a lot of negative karma around that because, and we're not even going to get into that. Okay. I think that the wig and weave industry is always going to be popping. And also a business like mine, like I said, um, I think that I suffered a little bit of a reduction, but to be honest with you, spirituality, spirit-based, faith-based businesses such as mine, in my humble opinion, they are still considered to be businesses that are necessary. Okay, they are. So this is the reason why I still have a roof over my head. Thank God. But there's a lot of people right now that are really, really, and okay, y'all. So the strangest thing happened. I'm back. Um, but the strangest thing happened. All of a sudden on my computer, I'm gonna restart my computer. I need to do a restart. And I'm not gonna get all paranoid and say, "Oh, they cut me. They tried to shut me down." I'm just gonna restart my computer. For some reason, all of a sudden, uh, yeah. And you know what? African Soul Store, poverty is a mindset. You are absolutely correct. Especially You have men, our own men, telling us how broke and stupid we are, which that's a part of generational hex. So people that are running around here generationally hex, they want to impede on our minds, which is why you probably shouldn't be, hanging around or either even talking to people that do have a poverty mindset. As sad as it is, we have a lot of Black males that are on YouTube. They're putting it out in the airwaves. They're wishing poverty on us. And it's so sad, even in an economy that. But again, if you are truly practicing your craft the way that you're supposed to, then those people can affect you. Okay, because they will try to negatively affect your mind with their negativity. But you do have to be very strong minded, and that there's a lot of that is going on in the community, especially when it comes to the men, because men want women to be impoverished. Why? Because they think that if we're impoverished, that means that they have more control over us. They want to control your money. They want to control when you eat. They want to control when you go to the bathroom. Okay? They do. Because men are constantly competing with each other and with us too. I don't understand that. I don't understand men that look at women is lower them. It's that ridiculous because everything comes from the woman. Everything. But there's a lot of people that are sort of working in reverse these days. You know what I'm saying? They're just constantly competing. I actually used to live with a man years ago. He would always make me lose every job that I had, and he didn't care about the job loss because we had a backup, which was, you know what I'm saying? We had subsidized housing, so they don't care about whether or not you're successful in a career. And see, nowadays, this is something that we need to deviate away from, because a lot of people should be wanting and looking into home ownership. Now, guys, I'm going to try to switch back over to my computer because I had to come back through my phone. I don't know how that happened, because my internet definitely is on. My bill ain't due yet. But for some reason on my computer, it said no internet. So weird. But I still have internet on the computer. I'm sorry, on the phone. So it's very weird and strange that happened. So another thing is negativity. Negativity. When a man is sitting up here calling you broke and stupid, he's projecting. Okay. Whatever it is that they are, they point it at you. If a male is going through financial difficulty of some sort, instead of them being positive and figuring out a solution to the problem, they're being very negative. And so negativity, having a negative defeatist attitude, is another thing that I see very common in people that are generationally hexed, in particular males that are generationally hexed. Okay. All right. I think my internet, I had to restart my computer. That was so weird. Um, it's still loading. So you can be a male or a woman, black or white, and you can manifest the money that you want. However, with a generational hex on you, and this is one of the things that you can tell. Okay, so I'm back up and running. I don't know what the hell happened. You got people out there that if they know your business, they'll try to reapply generational hexes. This is why you'll see people, they'll try to put spirits off on you. If they know that you had a narcissistic parent, that wanted control over you, that didn't want you to survive and be happy without them, then they'll try to do certain triggers or whatever. It's absolutely ridiculous. So with the new pricing system, if you guys have visited the website, you can see that you can get it for $750. Okay, $750. So that means that it was cut more than in half. Okay, so it's not like it's half off. It's just that that's the pricing that spirits decided for that ritual. Okay, especially during this harsh economy, because the economy is very harsh right now. Okay, very tight. I wouldn't go anything below that if I were you guys, because you probably won't be getting quality work. Cleanses are still 360. We do work with numerology around here. So at first, spirits, uh, when I asked them about 700, but then they said no, 750. So that's how much it is. So you guys can contact me. Now there is a catch. Depending on your situation, depending on if you still have an active principal, parent, or either an organization, you may want to consider that you're going to have to do the ritual again in a year. So this ritual does still need to be done yearly, because some of y'all have people actively, there's a lot of people that are just obsessed with seeing you broke and poor and hungry. I don't understand it. I don't okay, hold on, y'all. Hold on. About to have some weirdness. Okay, sorry about that. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. So for some reason, there's people, usually people that are living in poverty, they're obsessed with everybody else being in poverty. Poverty is a spirit. Okay. Now, also loneliness. Okay. Let's talk about that. Forced celibacy and loneliness. Okay. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about your love life and the problem with that. Okay. If somebody is trying to block your love life, they're trying to kill you. Period. Somebody's trying to block your love life in any way, they're trying to kill you. And some of y'all have uncles and cousins and cousin trying to block your love life. Okay. There's actually an article that stated that regular sex, the benefits of a healthy sex life. I'm going to share screen again. So a lot of you guys who had parents that decided, I'm going to be single, I'm not doing this, and you end up with your sacral chakra blocked off. Guess what? Guess what kind of health problems you're going to have that manifest? Having a healthy sex life is very important. So anybody that's obsessed with blocking off your sex life, guess what they're trying to do? Guess what they're trying to do? Okay? They're trying to fuck up your heart chakra. They're trying to kill you. The benefits of sex for women include lower blood pressure, better immune system, better heart health. Okay, this is the reason why after you have sex, it just feels like it opens up your chest, don't it? And you feel healed, because sex is actually very healing. Okay, possibly including lower risk for heart disease, improved self-esteem, decreased depression and anxiety, increased libido, immediate natural pain relief. Okay, better sleep, increase intimacy and closeness to a sexual partner, and overall stress reduction. So this is the biggest killer right here, is stress. Okay, so if you have a parent that may have, if you have a parent that's obsessed with your sex life, you got some problems, baby. You're gonna have to do something about that real quick. Because I have revealed to y'all that some of them are working in the direction of killing you for a small life insurance policy. that they're probably either going to spend up on drugs or something else. Going without sex, on top of that, being gang stalked and harassed, can raise your stress levels up very high, and it can eventually kill you. Okay, so that's another thing that's happening generationally. Everybody's sitting around talking about your sex life. Everybody want to know who you having sex with, and a lot of y'all are so hexed and stressed. For me, y'all saw my challenges of my love life, full frontal challenges, yeah. But I take care of self, or at least I try to. Okay. But some of y'all have such a low opinion of sex that you end up not doing it, and you end up with health problems. And that doesn't mean that you should just go snatching people off of the corner and saying, hey, have sex with me. Because you know that can be very dangerous. That's another generational hex, okay? Is to where you don't really, respect yourself enough to not just have sex with anybody, because you shouldn't be. And men have that bad, okay? Whenever I see a man, running around here talking about he had sex with a bunch of hoes, I immediately recognize a demon that's in them, and it's a sex demon that is eventually going to kill them, okay? It's not good to just have sex with anybody. It's good to find you a partner. Okay. It's good to find you a partner, that you can trust, that's not generationally hexed. And by the way, this is going to open you guys up to having your partners uncrossed. But one of the huge generational hexes that I see a lot is people not believing in witchcraft. So that's a big one. Okay. They can see that clearly what they're doing is not necessarily working. A lot of people that are against witchcraft, they typically are sitting there with a health condition that's going to kill them at any moment. All of them. All of the people that I see talking down on witchcraft have an obvious health problem and depression, and they just don't care. So they figure they just gonna ride it until the wheels fall off. But there's a lot of you that want longevity. You want happiness. You want peace. You want tranquility. You do. You want that. Okay. And they're actively doing it. Trust me. A lot of your fathers, I was talking about that earlier. They act as if it's going to kill them if you're happy, because they're all up in your butt. So, some of y'all have mothers that are trying to sleep with your partner. Some of y'all have mothers that have decided to close themselves off sexually. This is the result of cholesterol medicines, high blood pressure medicines. In fact, a lot of those medications are killing people. Okay, it's killing their joy. And if you have no joy in your life, then it's not good. Okay, it's not. And so that's another thing. Okay, that's another generational hex that I see very often, especially of women my age. They decide, and they do set up ops, and then a lot of men, they want to ruin you because they recognize that they don't want nobody else to have you. And so what they will do is they will try to completely ruin your ability to love somebody, which is going to take you to an early grave. It's very, very healthy for older people to have a partner as well as a normal sex life, okay, with somebody that they're connected with. But sadly, we see a lot of people doing that. And you guys know who I'm talking about. Y'all know the people in your family that I'm talking about. And then also going without sex, has led these people to a lot of perverted acts. Okay, religion, exactly. Religion is a huge source of confusion, and what we found is that very, very religious men are usually having sex with, they're usually raping their daughters, or they're raping little boys and stuff like that. So what they do in religions is they tell them, don't have a normal sex life and desire a person that you like. But then what they end up doing is they end up going and doing very atrocious things. So Yeah. Mm-hmm. It does. Okay. And so one of the biggest things that it talks about in the Bible is discernment. It's all about how you are interpreting the Bible. Maybe perhaps when the Bible forbids sex, maybe it's forbidding you from having sex with somebody that you know you shouldn't be having sex with. It's perfectly fine for you to have sex with someone that you're in love with, or is that your husband or your wife or your partner, your twin flame, your soulmate. It's perfectly fine to have sex with them. Okay, it's just other people that you probably shouldn't be having sex with, like family members and little kids. So you really have to know how to interpret the Bible, especially when it talks about witchcraft in the Bible. In fact, when I look at what it says about witchcraft, I believe that it's a karmic thing when it comes to, maybe a witch that's trying to kill you. Or you got to learn how to interpret those things, okay? And so I actually went over a lot of the things that people do in the Bible that they're not supposed to do. And so they cherry pick the Bible, which is not what you're supposed to do. This is the reason why I don't consider myself to be Christian, because everything that I do in the Bible, that's in the Bible that you're not supposed to do, you're doing it every single day and you're setting yourself up for eternal damnation. So it just doesn't make any sense. But a lot of Christians and stuff, they believe in daily or either hourly or weekly forgiveness. So that's why they go to church on Sunday. I don't understand why they're sitting at the churches cursing people, though. That doesn't make any sense. And I've caught them doing it. They'll go to church and they'll talk to pastor about you when they should be talking to their pastor about them. Okay, and pastor can recognize it too, but yeah, yeah. Well, you know what? It's never too late, African Soul Star. It's never too late to change your direction in life. You know what I'm saying? And then also when it comes to sicknesses and when it comes to diseases and sicknesses, I mean, obviously, if you're being gang stalked every day of your life and you've got people stressing you out and sending you bad energy, it's bad energy that's killing people. It's not even what you think it is. And what people do is they'll manifest certain symptoms and they'll go to the doctor. The doctor will read a book and they'll say, well, I've diagnosed you with this. But in reality, you're just the victim of stress and bad energy. So then also you need to be protected. The new way that I'm doing it is actually very improved because it will provide you continuous protection. However, you do need to do it either once a year or either once every 2 years. Okay, is what spirit told me as far as doing it, because what'll happen is that and it typically takes them about a year or 6 months to a year to reapply all of the demons and spirits and hexes back on you. It typically takes that long for them to continue to reapply it because they're trying it every single day, every day, the way that they're moving, the way that they're thinking. A lot of y'all that come from families that are very negative, or either or either you have a lot of negative energy around you. The way that they think about you can even affect you. So their thoughts can affect you, unfortunately. And it really depends on who the person is. Okay. Especially if it's your father or your mother and they're very religious and you're like, well, I like crystals, and we all know that crystals work. Absolutely. And you got people that's thinking, because they're nosy, you got people that's thinking as well as saying, oh, those crystals are not going to heal you. And see, I stay away from people like that. I heard somebody talking crazy about metaphysical practices and I unsub from them. Okay, if I hear you talking like that, I'm just going to unsub from your channel. I don't want to hear anything that you have to say from that point on. Okay, so yeah. So I'm very happy to announce this because I think that there was a lot of people that was extremely stressed out about it. A lot of you were saving up for it. And so now you have it. Okay. So I highly encourage you guys to get in now. My schedule is, I'm just letting y'all know that with this ritual being priced at this, my schedule is going to fill up very fast. So make sure that you guys get on my schedule for a consultation and then we can discuss it all. I'm a crystal. I am a crystal child. Y'all can get on my schedule. Um, and hopefully I won't, have people waiting weeks or anything. I know that that can be very difficult. I typically can do your readings within 24 to 72 hours is typically what my schedule is going to look like, especially when I'm running a special like this. Okay. If you guys had a generational hex a couple of years ago, if you had a generational hex remover, it's probably a good idea to get back in and redo it. Okay. Because there basically what happens is that when your nosy family members or either people that agents, ops, when they see you doing good, they're immediately going back to work to reapply it. And yes, it can be reapplied. It can be. Okay. Unfortunately, it's a lifelong struggle with it, but it doesn't actually have to be a struggle. In fact, when it comes to doing spiritual work for me, I like to, just do the work and don't even question it. I don't even get stressed out about it. And then also there's several hoodoo tricks that I have been using that have been working. Okay, so there's many, many options for you, especially when you need protection. Okay, because you're gonna need protection. And you know what's sad about it is that many of you guys, you're very psychic, and so a lot of y'all that watch me are even telepathic, and so you can actually tell what people are thinking. Also another thing, the people in your life, they can get yeah, it's best to do it once a year, and don't worry because I have a calendar on my phone. When I do that ritual for you, I will go straight to 2022, put the date on it. We will schedule it, the consultation, approximately 60 days before your time frame is up for you to redo that ritual. And it is because the type of work that I'm doing for you guys, it's not going to last forever. Okay, it's not. They were never meant to last forever. And really what it is that especially when it comes to the energies of Saturn having a deep impact on the earth, is where you're merely buying time. And you can buy time going all the way up to 100 years old because they're trying to kill you. Trust me. You know, and I'm talking about people and their demons. Okay, the whole consensus of it is that a lot of these demonic entities, they love misery. They love to see you miserable. They hate to see you happy, especially these disembodied spirits. They absolutely hate to see you happy. Why do y'all think that we have so much misery in this world? But guess what? God has been found a purpose for the witches, which is why I'm more of a healing witch. Now, I will do curses on people, absolutely. I will do curses on people that need it. But it really depends. Mainly I like to free you guys, and it's very, very complex meditation work, astral travel that is needed, travel into the etheric realm to get you out of these contracts, but it definitely does work. Okay. And don't come to me asking me, is it gonna work? Because I like to turn people away that ask me that. That means that you have doubt. And you can't doubt it. I mean, even with me, I have proven that it works. I've proven that. I've proven that witchcraft and what I do works. I told you guys when I came here to Georgia in 2015, I said I am going to get myself out of poverty. And eventually within well, actually I had a goal of 5 years, but I ended up having to do a lot of clearing work for 3 years, until I finally did, and divine timing. And then I was able to move out and branch out on my own in 2019, and they can never take that fact away from me. And so I'm gonna be honest with you. There are those times where I do deal with the demon of fear, but the fear comes in and it goes right out the front door. Okay. Don't be affected by the demon of fear. Yes, you do need to do the work, because the demon of fear, to me, I feel like the demon of fear is actually very useful because he's letting you know, so, you got some work to do. So if you're feeling some type of way and you're feeling tight and you feel pressed and you're feeling like something ain't right, something's wrong with you, something's wrong in the situation, then you know that it's work to do. If you're feeling no fear, if you're confident, and you're feeling good, then you know that you've done the work. You know what I'm saying? And so the demon of fear is actually very useful. But if you're just in fear all the time and you're in your 30s and 40s and 50s and you're just you're just completely frightened by fear, that means that you're just trapped. But then again, if it were not for that fear and that anxiety, you would not know anything is wrong. Okay, your intuition will tell you, hey, something ain't right with this. I'm gonna, let me consult with something. Okay, and see, the church just wants you to be scared all the time. They do. But then again, I do get a lot of quite a few church members that come to me. So I'm not speaking negatively about you, but I do feel that they are some of the most difficult clients because they don't really understand, and they can't really interpret what the Bible and what their religion is actually trying to teach them. In fact, religion is leading you to the craft, in my humble opinion, especially when it comes to the miracles that was performed by Jesus Christ. I feel I that in fact Jesus Christ was the one that inspired me to practice witchcraft, to be honest with you. So he provides the inspiration and then he leads you to me. Okay, and it's always okay for you to go to church. You can work with me and go to church every Sunday and Wednesday if you want to, but just make sure that you pay your debt. Okay, just make sure that you're paying your debt to me. Don't leave me and go back to the church and then you owe a huge debt to me, because it's not going to be good for you to do that. Okay, and it's not something that I'm going to do to you. It's something that spirit is going to do. So it ain't my fault. Okay, so make sure that y'all get on my schedule. Like I said, it's going to fill up fast because this is the time of the year that I'm doing a lot of generational hex removers. I do a lot of them in between this time and the month of May is when it be popping with generational hex remover clients. Because a lot of you start to get contacted by your ancestors. And I tell people all the time, well, it was your ancestors that led you to me, and they're not going to lead you astray. They're not. They're not going to do you greasy. Your ancestors are going to lead you to the right place. When you come to me, you're in the right place, because I don't, I don't do people greasy. I don't even believe in that. I run an honest practice, and this is one of the reasons why my spirits wanted me to think of a cheaper, more economical ritual for you guys, so that It's just not, I mean, there's plenty of people that are walking around here with $1,600 in their pocket, but hey, now you can spend 750 on the ritual and then you can save the rest for the kids at Christmas time. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what? There's a lot of people, they love to go to the churches. They like to do the fellowship and and now I'm gonna tell y'all African Soul Star, let me tell you the way I like to use the church. When I go into church, let me tell y'all, and it depends on what church I go to. For some reason, every time I go to the church, I just start crying. It's very cleansing. I'll just sit there and just cry and cry and cry. And it feels like I done cried a river. But I feel like this release. Okay, this release of negativity, because when you cry, you are releasing that inflammation. And even though, now if you're doing one of those gut wrenching cries, I hate those kind of cries where you just feel like everything is all swollen and you got to blow your nose and all that stuff. But, a lot of times when I go into church, and not just for funerals, in fact, I do, when anytime I go in a church, I just cry and cry and cry. So I just go in there and release all of my tears. And, it seems like, it has a positive effect on me. Uh, but I do think that it depends on what church that you're going to. And I've actually been in church before, and I've actually seen spirits just jumping from person to person. And these are negative spirits, these are phantasms and stuff that's just jumping into people. And what they do is they'll jump into you because the church, they're not really saging. They're not saging the churches. They're not cleaning the churches. They're not washing the floors. They used to clean those churches really good with some kind of floor wash. They're not doing that anymore. And that's a problem. They need to clean out the churches as well as the hospitals, but they don't do it for some reason, because they feel like it's hocus pocus or something. Hold on, y'all. I'll be right back. Okay. And then also people are not really consecrating things, and and these are things that they used to do in the church. They used to do those things in the churches and stuff. They don't really do that stuff no more. So that's a huge problem, a huge issue. Um, which is why I'm very uh you know and so I think if I were to go to any church, it would be a Catholic church, because at least in the Catholic churches, they burn in them seven kings incense and stuff. You ever go into a Catholic church and you see the incense smoke coming up? In a lot of these Baptist churches, they you just go up in there and all you smell is sweat and fear. So it's like a it's like a huge issue, you know. So anyway, I'm excited that I was able to bring y'all this good news right before the holidays. And I can promise you that everything's gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? Seriously, because this is things that worked for me as well as other people. Ziana talking about hamster baiters again. You're funny. Hold on. Okay, guys, I'm back. Okay. So all of my links are below. If you want to review my prices, you can visit the website. All of my consultations are 100% confidential. I am a solitary witch. I don't go and discuss any of my clients' information with anybody. So a lot of people are, very concerned about that. So, I have a lot of people that come to me And they tell me their secrets. People just come to me and they tell me everything, and they know they can trust me. So you guys are good over here with that. Okay. All right, you're very welcome. African Soul Star, welcome. Are you new to the channel? Make sure you hit that subscribe button, you guys, and I will see y'all later. Okay. All right. Peace and love. Okay, my newest thing is over and out. I don't know why I like saying that. Over and out. Bye, y'all.